856, or you can send us a text. Start your text with the letters WM and start it with the letter WM and send it to 81333, or you can tweet us at BBCWM. Now, many a time on the programme, Joe and I have struggled to get our words out. But how would you feel if it was so difficult to speak that you couldn't even get through a job interview or speak to a stranger for fear of literally having your words stuck in your throat? Having a stammer or stuttering affects around 6,000 people in the UK. 80%, in fact, of the sufferers are men, and it is considered incurable. Yet there are those who buck the trend, such as our next guest. Despite suffering with a stammer for most of her life, Chantal Sashana, I got it right, was able to overcome it. So I'm really pleased to see that you've joined us here in the studio. Welcome, Chantal.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm really excited to be on the BBC.
There's no need. I know I look like Halle, but stop. Sorry. No, not really. It's great to have you. But tell us a little bit about how it really affected you having a stammer.
Okay, so I literally suffered with a stammer for the whole of my life, like the entire of my life since I was a child. I had different bits of therapy, but nothing really worked for me. I found it truly embarrassing. It was something that I struggled with. I was so ashamed of it. And the way that people would look at me as well when I was struggling to get my words out, it was just something that it was a real struggle. Everything was a struggle. So I was exhausted all the time. You know, exhausted like from the actions of trying to get my words out. Also things like telephone interviews, severe anxiety just from answering the phone. Having to make a phone call, I just physically couldn't do because I would just block. So I just physically couldn't get my words out sometimes.
And it's fascinating listening to you because for all of us, having anything that makes, it's better if you get very nervous about things. I get extremely nervous, even, we open the microphones here and it's all a little bit until you get talking. So when you have a speech impediment, even more so. So what were you treated, how were you treated at school and with family members as well, when they could see that you just really couldn't get those words out?
Okay, so I must say I'm so thankful. I was never like teased about it or anything like that. So I'm really, really, really grateful for that. But while it was kind of like, it was very awkward. So people didn't really say anything because they didn't know how to. So I would be there struggling to speak. And then people would just look at me with like an awkward expression because they didn't know how to talk about it. And I would never, even though it was so obvious I had a stammer and it was so there. I was so ashamed that I just didn't want to even talk about it. If anyone tried to say anything to me about it, I would just not want to hear.
So how then did you begin to get over it and start to be stammer-free?
Okay, what happened was it was affecting every element of my life, like literally every single element. And I became petrified. I had all these dreams, all these goals, but I was so petrified that I would never achieve anything. And then as an adult, I went back to speech therapy. And obviously, she tried to help me through it, but the message was there is no cure. So I had to accept it, but try and manage it. But managing it, I wasn't doing a very good job at it because what that meant was I was always trying to hide it. So my way of hiding it was I had to dumb myself down because there were certain words and sounds I just physically could not say. So if I wanted to say something, if I could sense I couldn't get that word out, I would have to quickly exchange it for a different word, which means that sometimes my sentences made no sense.
Yeah.
People thought I was silly, people thought I was dumb, and I knew that I was saying things that didn't really make sense. So for me, it was like, okay, I knew that nothing was going to help me until I discovered and decided that I was going to rescue myself. And through that, I just got really, really, really radical. I stepped into like radical self-belief, and I had like a light bulb moment, and I thought, what if I could like convince myself that I could actually talk?
I'm going to have to hold you there, and we're going to go to travel. We will come back to you after the news and continue the conversation where you can help give advice to those who are dealing with having a stammer. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on BBCW and BBC Commentary and Warwickshire, Sunday night with Joe and Nikki. 0453 009956.
Sunday nights with Joe Aldred and Nikki Tapper.
Now, before we had our news there and information with regard to what's coming up for you in this hour, we were talking to Chantal Sashana. I'm determined to get it right for you. So great to have had you with us. You, and for many years, you're in your 30s, late 20s?
I'm 29.
I thought you were late 20s, early 30s. Suffered with a stammer all your life, but then took your own radical steps to overcome it. And that, again, was how?
Okay, so for me, the first step was radical self-belief. I had to first believe that I could actually overcome it. And once I believed that I could do it, that was it. I then started visualizing. So I used the practice of visualizing through meditation. And I would visualize myself speaking in front of thousands of people. And I would visualize myself speaking. And then what I did was I made myself really uncomfortable. So I started making uncomfortable phone calls that I could never do before. So I would get serious anxiety just by having to make a phone call. So I decided that I was going to step out of my comfort zone, because as we know, nothing grows in the comfort zone, and literally just get radical and just change everything.
So can you give us a quick example? If you were going to make a phone call, so you're going to call me, would you get across hello and then you couldn't go any further? Was it as bad as that?
Sometimes I couldn't even say hello. I would have to hang up.
Wow.
Sometimes literally. And what I would do is I would have to write everything down that I wanted to say and do so much prep. And even though I had done all that prep, sometimes I still couldn't even say hello.
So now that you are stammer-free, which is amazing to see, and as you said...
Well, I'm still healing. I'm still on my journey.
Right, okay, great. So for you, it's coming out of the comfort zone. It was a radical self-belief. It was truly visualisation. I can speak clearly and smoothly. So what advice would you give to someone who is listening to you now and struggling as well with a stammer or stutter?
Okay, well, I'm just a normal girl. There's absolutely nothing special about me, really. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. So I hope that is enough belief that I'm out here, I'm hosting events, I'm doing all crazy stuff that I didn't even know was even possible. So I can do it. Believe in yourself, visualize. You have to put yourself in the future, see yourself speaking fluently and clearly, and then bridge that gap. You can do it.
How can people get hold of you? Because I'm sure someone's going, I need to speak to Chantal. So what's your contact details and website?
ChantalSashana.com. It's about ChantelSashana, and it's Chantal Sashana for my Instagram and Facebook. I know I'm on all different platforms of social media, so it's the same name. You can reach me, contact me, get in touch. I'd love to help.
Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell.
Many thanks to Chantal for coming in. Wonderful to hear her. Alan Black, I'm the man, but she's the woman, really.